I know her from, of course, math class and the theater, and I think all the way back, Greater Tuna.
Yes.
I was in 8th grade.
That was my introduction, I think, to Chloë Duckart. And she's joined us for our summer musical, and will be again this summer. So if you haven't had enough of her, you want to spend 5 more weeks with her, sign in the main office. Okay. There's only 20 spots left. So anyway, I've known Chloë a long time. I'm very honored to be her advisor. Come on, you're good. We saved you a seat. I had nothing to do with it. Someone else saved you a seat.
Yeah, it's we business.
Over the years, she has shown me a rainbow of different personalities and emotions, and I'm just so happy that you're all here, and I am personally proud to be a part of this very important part of her life. Okay?
Yeah.
Enjoy the show.
I was a little girl alone in my little world who dreamed of a little home for me. I played pretend beneath the trees and fed my house guests barking leaves and laughed in my pretty bed of green. I had a dream that I would fly from the highest swing. I had a dream. Long walks in the dark through woods grown behind the park. I asked God who I'm supposed to be. The stars smiled down at me. God answered in silent reverie. I said a prayer and fell asleep. I had a dream that I would fly from the highest swing. I had a dream. When I was a little kid, about 6, say, I became friends with a group of several other little kids in my 1st grade class. The small group of us shared a love for fairies, and one girl named Jay, she organized a sort of fairy club. We would run around outside and make houses for the fairies, add clothes and furniture. Sometimes the fairy would give us gifts in return, crystals, pretty rocks, flowers, berries, jewelry, and we'd go looking for them sometimes. I can only remember ever seeing one. Her name was Nala. Jay told us that Nala was a fairy princess and one day she'd be queen. But the presents and the friendships weren't the best part of it for me. I think I enjoyed the fairy club because I got to make things for and interact with creatures who, according to the adults around me, were part of my imagination. It's certainly true that the human companionship had little to do with my enjoyment, because I was not completely torn apart when I was exiled from the group for not being pure fairy. The events leading up to my dischargement from the group are another story, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but the gist of it was that Jay decided in order to have an ample amount of control over the group, she needed to instill a concept of blood purity into our young little minds. The way you could keep your pure fairy blood status was by taking fairy shots, a ritual which consisted of taking a thorn and pricking your finger with it until you drew blood. The squeamish child that I was at age 6 was disturbed by the mention of blood, so you can imagine how quickly I withdrew from the practice, assuming it would be fine and I could just come back the next day. But when I did see my friends the next day at recess, they were cold to me. Jay had told them that I was not pure fairy anymore, and if they played with me, they wouldn't be either. And that was the end of that. I remember that as being the first time in my life I was given the opportunity to change for someone else. And it wasn't difficult for me to say no thanks and walk away from the group, knowing that they were mean, exclusive, and weird, and I could talk to the fairies my own way. It's always seemed to me that the least painful way to live your life is to stay true to yourself and in your comfort zone. Through the years, especially once I entered adolescence, I was faced with more opportunities to change the way I was, whether through clothes, the way I talked, who I spent my time with, my interests, etc. And although some of the offers did seem tempting, I could never bring myself to become something I didn't naturally exist as. Meanwhile, my peers floated back and forth to appease the orders of the Alpha, morphing and shifting until they didn't know who they were anymore. That's a very common problem, you will notice. A loss of identity, or at least a muddying of what was once a clear image. You may have noticed in capstones you've seen earlier today or in years past, this is a common theme among presenters. And recognizing the thematic relevance of this, I'm in no way calling it a cliche, because it's a common theme among young adults, adolescence being a time of change, to change who you are. It can be confusing and frightening experience to realize you don't know who you are anymore. But it isn't an experience I've ever been faced with. As previously stated, it has always been natural for me to remain in alignment who I thought. And I hold a certain pride in this. I have never existed to please anyone. I am honest, sometimes brutally so. And so I can confidently say that I do know who I am. What I cannot state with similar confidence is whether or not my need to stay true to myself and my affinity towards honesty are driven by a good thing. When I was 11 years old, I took an audition workshop someplace. Every week I would go to class and I'd work on my monologue and my song. And I would watch these other kids, and I'd watch the way they acted by themselves, and I watched the way they acted with the teachers. And I noticed the way they acted with the teachers was generally the same, manufactured. And so I asked my mom about it. I said, "Mama, the people in my class, they all seem the same. They all talk to the teachers in such this way, and it's kind of an annoying way. Why do they do it? Why don't I?"
It's because they're kiss asses. Like them. Get any people to like them without sucking up and saying, yes, oh, absolutely. To anything an authority figure says. Not everyone is as talented enough as you to make it without kissing some ass.
So I took that, and I thought about it, and I decided she was right. They were all kiss asses with no individuality, and I resented them. I resented theater for a while because in my experience it involved pretending you were something you weren't even when you weren't on stage. But I remember sometimes wishing I could be a kiss ass because everyone liked them and everyone wanted to be their friend, and just by existing they could make other people want to be like them. I knew I'd get by in life much easier if I could learn to act like a pleasant little girl who nodded her head and smiled to get what she wanted. But I couldn't bring myself to put on that act. I love acting as characters, but I don't love tricking people. I either have to face things as myself or not face them at all. And herein lies one of my biggest problems. A few years ago, I was a sophomore. I started missing a lot of school. My attendance hasn't ever been great, but once I began missing weeks of school for no apparent reason at the end of my sophomore year, the ability to face my teachers became very difficult as I was failing nearly all of my classes. If you add in the fact that I was avoiding a few of my peers at the school, all of whom at the time were friends with my friends, you might imagine why going to school might seem like the worst thing to do ever. I don't want this to get too angsty, so I won't linger on it too much, but the reasoning behind my school absence triggered depression, which then led to me staying home more, which led to more depression. Why I was depressed doesn't really matter, and actually the fact I was depressed doesn't matter either. I'm mostly just saying this to correct anyone who thought that the reason that I spent a lot of time not at school was because I was a lazy slacker who hated school. I mean, I am, but that's not why. After a fair amount of therapy and getting chewed out several times in the counseling office, thank you, Jill Starling, I came up with a plan to talk to my teachers, figure out what I needed to do to make up my work, and then get my attendance from abysmal to slightly below average. I promised my mom and my therapist I would start finishing my work and how I would show up even if I didn't want to and all that. And then I broke those promises again and again. It's not that I was lying, I wasn't. I really, really wanted to come to school and do well and get out of bed and be positive, so I would remind myself of my promise and pick myself back up again. But here's the thing about being an honest, non-lying person like me. Because you can't lie and promise to do things you know you won't do, if you want to make a promise, you have to pledge to yourself to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you just have to. But if you are like me and you are both honest and self-pitying and refuse to do anything that you don't want to do, you start to get really, really good at coming up with excuses.
Chloe, are you ready to come in?
Oh, yeah.
So, Chloe, how have you been doing?
Fine, good, pretty good, all right. I think, maybe ask my mom.
Good. How are you in school this week? Did you do the presentation you said you'd do?
Yes.
And did you go to school every day?
Not every day. I know I was supposed to do that, but I did finish all my work this week. But I did that by pulling all-nighters, so it's fair that I didn't go to school every day this week.
Right.
I also got really good at finding loopholes.
Well, Chloe, how's that paper? You finished it, right?
Yeah, I finished it, mostly. But there's parts I want to edit, so...
Did you turn it in today?
Well, see, class wasn't today, so it doesn't really matter when I turn it in, just as long as I turn it in before the teacher has a chance to yell at me, right? Right?
Well, at least you're mostly finished.
And if all else failed, I would return to the most successful excuse that I've ever had.
Did you miss any more school this week?
Yeah, like, I went to some days, but I'm really sad. And it's really hard, and the world is so stressful, and I have mild autism, and I'm depressed, and really, school doesn't matter anyway. I can just do art by myself without making any money, or I could just die. I use that last one a lot. I use lots of excuses. I have to, because if I'm going to stay honest and also not do what anyone tells me to do, I'm going to end up disappointing people because they want me to do things, and I don't want to do those things. And I want to be able to say I can do these things and mean it, but when it comes down to it, I won't, because I don't want to, and when I don't want to, I can't focus. So I just focus on whatever it is I want to focus on. It's easier that way, to just focus on one thing at a time. Whenever I try to do multiple things, it gets confused wearing comfortable clothes, or else I'll get distracted by the clothes. And the lighting has to be soft, because if it's too bright, it'll distract me. And if there's an unpleasant noise, that has to be quiet too, or else I'll get really anxious. If you've ever spent time with me, you might notice how whenever I come into a room, I adjust the lights if I can, and I adjust my clothes a lot too, and my hair. I take hair ties from people all the time because I get bothered if my hair's in my face. Sometimes my sister gets mad because I'll be writing, and she'll ask me a question, and I'll respond with a one-word answer. And she'll keep asking me questions, and I'll keep responding. But later, I won't remember saying any of those things because I was focused on writing, not listening. It's kind of a problem for other people, but it's sort of peaceful for me. It lets me get into my own little hyper-focus zone. Sometimes when someone wants to talk to me, I'm pretending that I'm not listening to them because a lot of the time, I don't really hear them, and so it wouldn't really be lying in most situations. But if in this situation I can hear them, I wouldn't be lying in other situations. So I'm just pretending that I don't hear them. And I'm not necessarily saying that I don't hear them when I don't respond. I'm just saying that I'm not going to give them my attention. Which sounds kind of bratty, but I like to put things in the frankest terms that I can. My friends always struggle with being straightforward. They'll tell stories about someone being mean or annoying, and when they recount the stories, I get all these ideas about what I would say to them, but they never have that same idea. It's too bad. I think this comes back to another sort of being honest and authentic sort of thing, and how I genuinely don't care what people think about me. I don't really think about other people. I mean, I do. I do think about people a lot. I just don't really think about the intricacies of the relationship, whoever I'm talking to. It's because I assume that they're being honest when they interact with me, just like I am with them. It's kind of stupid to assume that, isn't it? It just always perplexes me when people who don't tell each other what they really think. Whenever someone I know is being stupid, I tell them, and people still stick around me even if I am brutally honest when they're being stupid. Or, well, they kind of do. Some of them do. I don't know. I don't really stay friends with people for more than 3 or 4 years before I lose contact. It's just kind of a thing with me. But it's not because the friends don't like me anymore. At least I don't think that's why. I hope that's not why. But I don't really care. Besides, if I wanted to stay in touch with all my friends from the beginning of my life to now, I could, but I don't want to. Just like I don't want to do homework. People act like school and friends and love are the most important things in the world, but I don't really want to go out of my way to preserve any of those things. I have better things to do, like write stories, or sing, or draw, or play music, or play video games. Lots of stories to tell and make and help with. Most people I know would say there's no such thing as too much creativity and imagination. My mom used to be one of those people, but then she had me, and she realized that creativity and imagination is about the worst thing an avoidant child with sensory issues could have, because I use it to escape real-world problems or whatever. It probably won't surprise you at this point, but I don't care what my mother thinks about my life choices. I'm happy to just make them or not make them, and she can judge all she wants from the audience. I don't listen to, by the way, I don't listen to the audience. People always tell me that the #1 rule is that theater's for the audience, but I never do it for the audience, I do it for me. And now I feel bad saying that. I hate rules. That's a thing I like about independent art. You don't have to follow any rules or do anything you don't want to do. I love theater and collaborative stuff, but it can get so loud and pretentious and difficult and controlling and not worth it. A lot of stuff is not worth it, honestly. Not worth the pressure and the competition and the early morning wake-ups just to be overshadowed by another one of those kiss asses. This makes me sound bitter. I'm not bitter. I know that the kiss asses work hard and they also kiss ass, which is really hard. And I know the people who get things over me get them because they work harder than me, but that's exactly my point. I'm not willing to work hard as someone else. I'm not willing to work as hard as some of the other people in the world to get what I want. Maybe it's because I'm afraid of risk, working really hard and getting nothing, but I know a lot of it is the fact that I know even if I fail in school, or I don't get a role I want, or I don't get a job, or don't make a friend, I'll still always be able to do the most enjoyable things in my life by myself, in my own little world, far away from this one. The first character I ever remember playing was a character named Lily the Frog from this leapfrog company. It was an entertainment company for kids. I had some green paint here, but it's gone, so just pretend that I have a green dot on my nose, because that's what I did to be Lily the Frog. And she was sort of the spark of every character I would obsess over and become. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. On the wing of my fancy, I can fly anywhere, and the world will open its arms to me. I'm a young Norwegian princess or a milkmaid. I'm the greatest prima donna in Milan. I'm an heiress who has always had her silk made by her own flock of silkworms in Japan. I'm a girl men go mad for, love's a game I can play with a cool and confident kind of air. Just as long as I stay in my own little corner, all alone in my own little chair. See, when you're grown up, you don't get to pretend like this, unless you're an actor, which luckily for me, I am. This is Arlene Struve.
Yeah, it is.
From Greater Tuna, 2012. Huckabee, Fantastics, 2013. Adam, Children of Eden, 2014. The Other Mother, Coraline, 2015. Good old reliable Jake, Evil Dead, 2015. Macbeth. Macbeth, 2015.
Chloe, are you in here? There you are! Chloe?
Go away!
What are you doing?
I'm doing a thing, just leave me alone!
What are you holding?
Nothing! nothing! Just leave me alone!
Chloe?
Leave me alone now! I think I know myself. I think I know myself really well, that sometimes I do really scary things that I don't want to do, and I wonder if I'm not doing them, then who is? All we do is hide away. All we do is hide away. All we do is chase the day. All we do is chase the day. All we do is feel the pain. All we do is feel the pain. All we do is lie and wait. All we do is lie and wait. I've been upside down. I don't wanna be the right way round. Can't find paradise on the ground. I've been upside down. I don't want to be the right way round. Can't find paradise on the ground. I've spent my entire life escaping places that scared me by hiding inside my imagination. But what do I do when my imagination isn't a safe space anymore? If everything overwhelms me, all the lights and sounds and people outside, and all the sadness and anger inside, what do I focus on? How do I exist in a world that's too much for me, when there aren't any other worlds to exist in? All we do is play it big. All we do is live inside a cage. All we do is play it safe. All we do. I've been upside down. I don't want to be the right way around. Can't find paradise on the ground. I've been upside down. I don't want to be the right way around. Can't find paradise on the ground. How do I fix myself when spending a second exposed to my mind, or the world makes me want to scream and cry? How do I even survive here? Denial? I guess so. All we do is hide away. All we do is hide away. All we do is chase the day. All we do is chase the day. All I did was fail today. All we do. One thing I've learned during my time at a high school is that the teachers don't care how terrible you feel. If you don't come to school, you'll fall behind. And if you don't show up, they're not going to pass you. At the end of my sophomore year, my therapist told me to just wear really cute outfits to school every day, so that way I'd be excited to get up and show everyone my new outfits. And I listened to her advice, and I wasn't excited. And I still felt really terrible, but...
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, cool. I like your outfit.
Thank you! It did give me an opportunity to fake it till I made it. And hey, wearing pink pink shirts and shiny skirts was a lot more fun than the oversized sweater and leggings that I'd been throwing on the whole year. But also a lot more work. And sort of disingenuous. Oh my god, am I changing for other people? Ew! 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 Ugh! That was gross!
Why?
What? Who are you? Why do you have wings? Why are you here? This isn't even a flashback.
You don't remember me? I'm Nala, Queen of the Fairies. You came to my wedding.
I do remember you. You were the first fairy I ever saw. So, why are you here?
Why not?
I could think of a lot of logical reasons why not, but I'm getting the feeling that that would be a waste of time. So, because I'm not pure fairy?
Of course you are, silly.
Oh my god, I do not remember you talking like that. Wait, is this a joke? Is this a fairy godmother joke? Is this because I sang that song from Cinderella earlier? Are you mad because I turned it into a demon hymn?
Is this pure fairy thing a reference to Jay from 3rd grade?
Well, I only hung out with her in 1st grade. But, I mean, yeah, I don't care, but I don't know, I just always kind of assumed you two were kind of tight.
Oh, heavens no. She only named herself the leader of your group because she was short and wanted power.
I mean, I'm not really surprised, but I don't know, I thought you might have told her that I wasn't pure fairy and she was just spreading your word.
No, not at all. There's no such thing as being pure fairy. You're either fairy or honorary fairy or nothing. And y'all were honorary fairies. But most of you have given up your titles.
Really? Even Jay?
Oh, she was one of the first. After 3rd grade, she started avoiding me, and then when she hit 6th, bam, like I never even existed.
Man, I'm sorry.
Don't be, I always thought she was kind of a bitch.
Actually makes me really happy to hear you say that.
So, why are you ripping off your clothes?
Oh, just stupid reasons.
Like what?
I wanted to look cute to go to school so I wouldn't feel like crap and people wouldn't be as worried about me. But then I realized that sort of goes against my whole thing, which is not changing for people, so I had to take them off.
Huh. They were cute.
Not you too.
Seriously, you thought so too.
Yeah, but now they're tainted.
Tainted by what?
I just can't wear them or I'll be letting myself down. It goes against my whole identity.
Your identity?
Yeah.
Your no shoes, no school, I don't give a care identity?
Kind of?
Okay. What? Do you like the clothes? Do you feel good in them?
Sure, but it's
Then
not.
why can't you wear them?
I already told you, it goes
Why
against.
can't you?
Because I don't want to satisfy people. I don't want to let them think I can be any different than what I am or any better than what I am, because then they'll start thinking they can mess around with me again. I know who I am, and who I am does not do stuff like that. Huh. What now?
You really put a lot of stock into your identity, don't you?
What do you mean?
I mean, your whole life you've decided to be this one person, and you aren't going to change for anyone else. That's great, Chloe, but why are you so stubborn?
About what?
About doing things you don't want to do.
Like homework? Homework is dumb.
Opening yourself up to people, like trying new things, like caring about school or your future or doing things that you're afraid of. Chloe, you've had this identity for such a long time that you've made all these rules for yourself that you say that you hate, that you have to follow. Like how you're supposed to act. You're supposed to be witty, you're supposed to be brutally honest, you're supposed to get bad grades, you're supposed to be late, you're supposed to not care. You're so afraid of changing and losing who you are, like the people around you, that you've overcompensated. And now you won't do anything for anyone if you aren't comfortable with it.
So, that's really okay with me. I don't need to worry about school, I'm not going to college, and it's not worth overwhelming myself for something that just isn't my thing.
You could go to college.
Oh my god, shut up! Okay, I don't think you understand. I get stressed out so easily. I'm absolutely incapable of waking up in the morning, of feeding myself, of doing laundry, of doing homework, of budgeting my time, of managing money. And all of that stuff is just too much for me to think about right now. So I'm just going to go into the PAC bathroom and hide.
Chloe, you have to believe in yourself.
That's funny. Are you making another joke? Are you making a Peter Pan reference? Are you gonna clap for me and Peter Pan like they clapped for the fairy? Stop it! That's one kind of clap.
Okay, you think that you're this person who can't do anything. You think that you're special because you get scared and tired and that you get discouraged and you don't know what to do all the time. You think that you're special because maybe things are a little bit more hard for you mentally. And yes, Chloe, you are special. You're special because you're talented and kind and passionate and you're imaginative, and all of those things are part of your identity that make you special. But being lazy, flaky, discouraged, scared, those don't make you special, and they aren't a part of your identity. Chloe, everyone is experiencing everything for the first time. Nobody knows what they're doing, and everyone is scared. And a lot of people have trouble with procrastination and motivation and depression. But those things aren't who you are. If you really don't think that something is right for you, then you don't have to do it. Or if you think it compromises you morally, then don't. But just not trying something because it's out of your comfort zone or it doesn't fit the perception of your identity, the only thing you're going to do is hurt yourself.
I'm really good at that.
Goodbye.
Whatever. I don't care. Yes, I do. God, why do I have to suck so much? Do you know? Sorry. Me neither. I don't know. Nala said that was okay, though. Not knowing about myself, why I do things. She's right. I have an excuse for everything that I do. I've trapped myself. I don't want to be trapped. How do I stop this?
Hey, Chloe, have you heard about Oregon Promise?
What?
Oregon Promise. It's the new thing. It says if you have a 2.5 GPA or higher, you can go to community college for free.
And this is relevant because
I don't know, you said you didn't really want to go to college, but I thought it might be cool.
I don't.
Okay, let's go.
I can't.
Why do you feel that way?
Because it's just part of me. I'm not in control enough to go to college.
Well, you could still live at home. You would just take classes and things for free, and after 2 years you could transfer to somewhere else, and they wouldn't even look at your high school transcript.
That's nice of them.
Lots of people do way better in college than they do in high school.
Why?
Because you're in control of your own classes. You don't have to take anything boring, and a lot of classes are discussion-based. I think you might like it.
I like a lot of things.
You would have to read and write a lot of things, but you're good at that.
Why are we talking about this as if it might happen?
I don't know. What else are you going to do after graduation?
I don't know.
Well, this is as good a plan as any.
I just don't want to become one of those kids who just go to college because it's the norm.
The only thing that could be bad about that is that the college costs a lot of money and they just go there to party.
And I wouldn't do that.
I would hope not.
But I also can't do anything myself.
You wouldn't have to.
Nathaniel Knuckles is going to PCC through that Oregon Promise thing.
That's good.
Chelsea Reed lives by herself and has a good job.
That's true.
Do you think I'm like them?
Yes.
How?
You're all creative and smart, and I think you all tend to second guess yourselves.
You think I could be living myself and have a job in 3 years?
Definitely.
Do you think it would help me if I went to PCC?
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay. I guess I'll try it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome. You have to have at least a 2.5 though.
I know. I checked. I have a 2.7. I think I can keep that.
You go, girl.
Damn it, Nala. You better be right about my potential for greatness that is only destroyed by me selling myself short. I want to play some music. I can't play the ukulele. Die
What time is it?